The Industrial Revolution started around 1760 in Great Britain. It changed the world into how we know it today. The largest industry in the Industrial Revolution was known as the textile industry pertaining to clothing products. But before any of this was even a thought, the putting out system was used to turn raw materials into finished products. A woman would shear wool from a sheep and she would put it out, leaving it for another woman who was a close neighbor to come get the wool. This woman would then spin the wool into long threads of yarn. The yarn would be put out to another neighbor who would sew the yarn into shirts and clothing products, and she would put it out to someone who would dye the shirts different colors and designs. After this long drawn out process, the finished products would eventually get to the markets and be sold for a product by the merchant. The profit would then be split between all the women and the merchant who had to do with developing this sold finished product. It was a very inefficient process, though. That is how things were done prior to this industrial revolution we speak of. Factories were made at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. These factories took all the steps of the putting out system and put them all under one roof. It was way more efficient and quicker this way. Majority of factories were built very close to a river. This is because the force of the water would turn a large wheel located outside of the factory, which would then act as power for the whole factory. If a factory was not located by a flowing water source, something new had to be created. A new invention was made, and it was called the steam engine. The steam engine was perfected by a Scottish man named James Watt. How it works was there would be a coal burning under a large pot of water, which would create steam. The steam would rise into what is called a cylinder, and inside the cylinder was a piston, which was lifted by the steam that was filling up the cylinder. The steam would then be released out of the cylinder and the piston would drop. Picture this on a grand scale, though, with around 32 cylinders and pistons. This is how a steam engine functioned, and it would power a whole factory. Now that they had a power source, they had to create new and quicker machines that would speed up the processes that were done in the putting out system. The first machine in a factory where the raw materials would first enter was called the spinning jenny. The spinning jenny was created by James Hargreaves and was capable of spinning 8 times the amount of thread at a time when compared to the putting out system. Just like the putting out system, the yarn would then have to be sewn into cloth, which could be made into any clothing items. This machine was called the flying shuttle and was created by John Kay. The flying shuttle was used to quickly and efficiently turn yarn threads into cloth. After the wool had been spun and sewn into cloth, you could then dye them to any color very quickly. Keep in mind this process is all happening under the same roof, producing mass amounts of finished products. After everything was said and done, and you had finished products, the products will be shipped using 2 main different ways of new transportation. Finished products could be loaded onto a steamboat and be shipped down the river to be sold, or they could ship finished products by land to be sold at a market or a port. The difference between a turnpike and a regular road was that you had to pay to drive on a turnpike. This resulted in less traffic, which meant more finished products sold quicker.